Good afternoon. With tomorrow being a public holiday, South Australian Police will be running a statewide operation to monitor the behaviour of people that are using our road network. As a result of bad driving behaviour, unfortunately this year we've got off to a tragic start with 10 people losing their lives. That's something we want to rectify, and I call on the community to assist SAPOL in doing that. There's likely to be a significant exodus of people away from the metropolitan area tomorrow for an extended long weekend, and in addition there's going to be people travelling back after the school holidays. So I'm asking you, if you're leaving metropolitan Adelaide, make sure that people in your vehicles are restrained. Last year we lost 13 people in South Australia who were in vehicles with seatbelts fitted that chose not to wear them. Make sure you drive to the conditions, be well rested, be patient, and what we want is for you to work with us to make sure that everybody has either a good day tomorrow or a good extended long weekend. If you're contemplating going out socialising, don't drink alcohol and drive, don't take drugs and drive. So the message is very simple. Can you assist us to make sure that people have a safe public holiday tomorrow? In addition, I just remind everybody that next Monday and Tuesday, we're likely to see the majority of our school children returning. SAPOL will be running a 2-day operation to monitor behaviour around schools, so I'm calling on the public again to be aware that particularly the young children are vulnerable. They're hard to see, they often do impetuous things, so just be mindful of the fact that they present a risk around schools next week when they're returning to school.
Quite a number of people will use this opportunity, great weather, wonderful time of year to take an extra long weekend, and is always a critical time to think about road safety, think about the decisions that you make and how that impacts yourself and others on the road. Sadly, we still see far too many young people dying or being seriously injured on our roads. And as we return to school, I'm calling on all parents and caregivers, grandparents, to think about the example that you set on the road for your young loved ones, your children, your grandchildren. Those positive influences, those decisions that they're seeing you make, will be the decisions that they replicate as they get older. So don't ever drive without a seatbelt. Don't ever think about drinking and driving, particularly with children in the car. Simple things like putting your mobile phone down will make a massive difference in getting home safe. This is also the start of a new year, particularly for students and for school kids. So much unlike 2022. If I recall and think back to this time last year, we were in the midst of a very serious public health concern, and there were a significant degree of disruption to return to school for so many people. So with the excitement that comes with returning to school and with the excitement of children getting back to school with their friends, use that as an opportunity to set a positive example for them and show them the decisions that you make on the road are ones that you will be proud to see them make one day as they get older. Just while I'm here as well, I just do want to provide a very brief update on the flood situation in the Riverland. I'm very pleased to advise that as of midday today, the Lyrup ferry has reopened. That was the first ferry that was closed due to high flows, and I'm very pleased that has been the first ferry to reopen today. There are some restrictions that remain on that. It is only accessible for light vehicles for the time being. The advice that I have is that the progression of flow decreases, and as well as the recession of waters does continue, and it is such that the majority of the rest of the ferries in our system are likely to still be on track to reopen sometime in mid-February. So there is still very significant disruption to roads, Bookpinong Road being a major road that sees disruption, but as smaller roads do reopen, I do remind everyone to continue to exercise significant caution. Roads will be in places quite spongy, and the shoulders of these roads may be particularly wet and spongy. So as you're driving, as you're using these roads, do exercise significant caution. Can also just note the excellent work of workers and staff right across both the Department of Infrastructure and Transport, as well as our private ferry operators, contractors, in not only having our ferries reopened, but also keeping ferries open during these high flows. Cadell Ferry remained open, as well as Tail Bend 2, that somewhat early in the piece we were concerned would close due to inundation, but they remained open and will remain open, which led to an otherwise very significant event for these communities being somewhat mitigated by the ferries remaining open in their communities. Hope to take any questions or so forth.
Mike, for Superintendent first, that's right. I guess any of these operations first, do they have a name at all that you're putting up?
The operation that we're running for the public holidays operations, Stop Drink Drug Drive. So again, as I've cautioned before, there will be an increased police presence. It's a statewide operation, and if you're driving on the road, expect to be alcohol tested and drug tested.
You said, was it 13 people passed away, 10 people passed away at the start of this year? Why such a bad start to the year, do you think?
I guess there's people that are making bad decisions, unfortunately. Generally, that's the case when people lose their lives or are seriously injured, and that's why we're calling on the community to work with us to make sure that the year doesn't continue to see an increase in lives lost and serious injury crashes.
Does potential bus stoppages on Monday alter any of those operations you were describing?
No, that won't.
There was a 75-year-old pedestrian who was hit in a car park down at Victor Harbour a few days ago. Is there any update on that person's condition?
Yes, tragically, the 75-year-old woman from Seacon Meadows passed away this morning.
Any others?
Just good one for the superintendent. We hear similar messages, not the same message every year. Are they getting in are people actually listening to these messages, road safety messages?
I would certainly like to think so. I mean, one life lost on a South Australian road is one life too many, and one serious injury on our roads is one serious injury too many. But in terms of relativity, last year we had the lowest loss count ever. And so I'd like to think that people are heeding the message, but it's really important that people understand that this isn't an issue that SAPOL or the government can solve. It's got to be a collaboration between the community, SAPOL and the government to make sure that people remain safe on our roads. So that's why I'm calling on people to actually take responsibility for what you're doing when you're using our road network in any capacity, whether you're a driver, a rider, a motorcyclist or a pedestrian, and make sensible decisions that aren't going to impact on you, your loved ones or other road users.
Do you think these people think they're indestructible?
I'm sure some people think they are, yes.
Any others?
For the Minister, I've got a few short on a separate topic if anybody's not going to ask any more.
Maybe just a reflection on messaging and getting through as well. A little earlier in 2022, I attended the REA Street Smart program. It's a program which is at Adelaide Entertainment Centre. Thousands of school students attend. The program is run with financial support from the state government, and you could hear a pin drop during those presentations. And it filled me with great confidence because I think younger people understand the importance of their decisions on the roads, and they understand the decisions that they make have not only an impact on themselves but on their friends and family as well. And often one question that I ask people when I speak to them, students when I address them as road safety minister, is what would you say to your friends and family that are mourning you when you die on the roads? So whilst we still see too many people dying on our roads, and whilst we see too many people being injured on our roads, I have a lot of faith and a great deal of confidence in our young people because they are bright, they're intelligent, and they're inspired by the sense of looking after each other.
Firstly, just on there's a teenager who was arrested on Friday night in the heart of the city over some terror charges. Are you across the particulars of this case?
Only broadly, very serious charges, of course, an ongoing police investigation. Those are about to fall forward, so it'll be not only proper but helpful for me to comment too much further on that, other than to commend the investigation and the work that SAPOL are doing.
So the details that have come out today in court are essentially that the child was a ward of the state. So essentially they were found on Rundle Street with a bag of weapons, including Molotov cocktails, knives, and a detailed plan of they wanted to kill 25 people plus, including themselves. This child's a ward of the state. How on earth has it got to this point where a child can, under your watch, gather all these weapons and plan out a detailed terror attack?
Very specific questions there, most of which would be entirely inappropriate for me to comment on because they are before the court and a matter of ongoing investigation. Broadly, young people under anyone's care have a right to safety, a right to happiness, and a right to care. And of course, there are situations that arise, least of which are some matters before the courts, from a whole raft of circumstances and a whole raft of family situations where children may be facing charges. But I'd say with respect that the specifics before of this one that are before the court would be particularly helpful any further.
People of Adelaide also have a right to safety as well. This happened Friday morning. We're only finding out now 5 days later the details of what's happened despite persistent questions. Is that good enough? People out there not knowing what's happened.
Yeah.
There's a plot in the city to kill 25 plus people, and we haven't heard anything about what's going on. People out there learning about this are going to be horrified.
Yeah, I'm aware that the matter was before the court for the first time, I believe, today. Those matters are being aired publicly, but other operational comments, particularly around notifications, I'd reserve, and particularly for police and the Commission potentially.
This teenager is obviously troubled, the detailed mental health issues that they've obviously experienced. The children in under state's protection, are they getting enough help and service